A primeira palestra de hoje vai ser apresentada pelo Augusto Pretner, que é diretor-gerente do Estúdio Galli, na Itália, e ele vai falar sobre planos de emergência para a gestão de inundação e escorregamentos, métodos e experiências internacionais.
So, good morning to everybody. We solved just the technical problem. So, here we have the contents of the presentation of today. It's flood and landslide management, and why we have hydrogeological disaster, and the methodology and technology for response, and some case studies in Italy and around the world. And then the proposed work according to the sheet that we already presented to INEA. Okay, hydrogeological hazard are a big problem also in Italy, and we have unfortunately, a long experience of this. This is an example of what happened in 1998 near Naples in South Italy, where we have 160 fatalities. And these other events, hazard events from flood and landslides in Messina, Sicily, and in Ischia in Italy. So now, why you have this hydrogeological disaster? And the land slope instability is due to a combination of many factors, but mainly linked to physical characteristics, heavy rainfall, and land use. Okay, this is a sketch on how natural hazards have increased. The rapid and, in many cases, unsustainable development in the last century had led to a increase of natural hazards, which are a combination of irrational land use and extreme rain events due to climate change. We have some scenarios for Brazil. If we consider the A2 and B2 scenarios on emission, and A2 is quite dramatic and B2 is more cautious, we have in the southeastern Brazil, so also in Rio de Janeiro, we have in any case, in case A2, we have from 3 to C warmer events, and B2 is 2 to 3 warmer events. And in any case, we have high frequency of intense rainfall events. And which is the correlation between precipitation and landslide? So the precipitation is the main culprit of landslide, and it is normally induced when you have very strong rainfall events with a very high return period, from 50 to 200 years. It's clear that climate change is increasing extreme events, so it's increasing landslides. Also, the duration of the rainfall, we have seen in the presentation of yesterday that according to the experience in Italy, we have to foresee an increase of precipitation during winter. And this is also, this will influence the depth of the sliding surface, and so the risk of landslide. Also, the land use is one of the main topics which for the production of landslide. So one thing is, for instance, deforestation and timber harvesting. And the other one is the expansion of new development and facilities, road, trains, and so on, which in many cases are made without an environmental assessment before. Now, which are the response? Europe has already issued a set of regulations. The main one is the flood directives in year 2007, and it's under negotiation the thematic strategy for soil protection. The technologies which is used in this methodology is the understanding of mechanism, monitoring and remote sensing technologies, and early warning system. This happened in 2003 in northern Italy. We have a movie also for this, the house going down. Okay, for what is, so this is a summary of what the EC directives says, which is to assess which water courses and coastlines are at risk of flooding. We have to make the map of flood extent and assess and humans at risk in these areas, and to take adequate and coordinated measures for this. Also, the involvement of public is one of the main issues of the legislation. Okay, I go very fast on this. The quantification of risk is hazard plus consequence, but I go on this, which is more explaining this. So, for the flood, this is a diagram on flood risk assessment and management. So we have natural system observation, and then we can establish flood hazard potential, and we can assess the vulnerability. Using flood hazard and vulnerability, we can have the risk assessment, and if the risk is unacceptable, we can go to planning and mitigation measures. This is an example of the flood risk maps made in one case study in Italy, in which we have a hydrological and land use analysis, and we come to the flood hazard maps and vulnerability maps, and to the matrix of risk. The other regulation of European Commission is on the thematic strategy for soil protection, and here also it requires to identify landslide and other soil threat risk and set reduction target and establish programs of measures. And this is an example of what has been done in Italy, where for all the country, the risk map has been assessed, and you can see that more than 50% of the municipalities in Italy are at high risk. These are the emergency programs, but I skip this. And also we have prevention and mitigation, so the non-structural measures, but I skip also this. And we have to carry on emergency plans. I come now to the more interesting part of the study, which is the case study that we already carried on in Italy. So 3 cases are in Italy, our work which has been carried on for regional government, and the other are under the cooperation program with the Italian Ministry for Environment in the Czech Republic and in Thailand. Okay, this is the case study of Teramo, and you see, this is a typical situation in Italy where we have the coastal line, where we had a very big urban development, and these are the rivers which has been covered in the other part. So the dense urbanization of the coastal area hinders the drainage to the upstream areas. And these are the consequences. You see that you have water bodies draining upper basin and mudslide flow into lakes and overflows. These are also examples of mudslide, and here also you have mudslide example. These are the activities which have been carried out in this study, which are topographic survey, a database for data elaboration, mathematical modeling, and geomorphological analysis. What comes out from all of this? It has been clear that the poor maintenance of rural and urban drainage area is the main culprit of the current situation. And the project has identified